Hey guys, welcome back to some more Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. Now that we're done with one of the worst levels here in the F-line, let's go into one of the worst levels in F-line. What is going on? Why am I getting the duds? I want to leave.
I don't know. Why are you getting the duds?
Did you play all the best levels already and this is just the leftovers?
I mean, there's some better ones coming up here soon. In fact, I think one of them is in this video specifically. Just gotta get through this monster first. The problem I have with this, more or less, is you get one life here. One little failure, your one life is gone. You game over. Have to do it again. It's kind of very punishing.
Oh, God.
I bet like if you failed your test at school, and then the teacher breaks your hands. What? Why? I gave you 3 lives for this. I don't know why it's only 1.
Oh, I hate these. I really hate these.
Hey, remember when we did this in Splatoon 3 and we had like, what, 5 lives to do it?
No, I don't, because I didn't do it.
I don't. I'm trying to repress it.
That's right. They learned their lesson because they're like, yeah, let's not do that next time we do this one.
Why'd they have to bring it back? That's what I want to know. Like, it's interesting.
I mean, I will give it credit. These kind of missions, they are, like, quirky. And they really do make you think, so it's a good puzzle. The problem, more or less, is just how punishing they are. It's always a difficulty, because you fail one tiny part and you're just dead. They need checkpoints. And there's another one of these missions to foreshadow into the future, but they do actually put a checkpoint in it, which is good, because it's, like, quadruple the length of this one, so you kind of need a checkpoint.
Oh, yeah, free power eggs. You just have to do this cryptic thing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to actually even see that target up above, so you might not even see that until you jump away from the platform. And by that point, it's too late. You can't go back.
It's like, oh, dang it.
Also, as a heads up, you can die from here, so don't even bother. Admire your art, but don't shoot it. I've actually died on the super jump before.
Oh, wow.
Don't ask why I have, because I'm stupid. I may or may not have thrown a bomb before I jumped.
It just says that Scott the Wall is club. Dumb.
Internally screaming still somewhere.
Well, I can understand why he's on the F line, because that's all he'll be saying.
Oh, with that, Cuttlefish is gonna step out somewhere. I don't know where he goes. It's a subway car. It's not very much to do.
Got your caps lock key on again, old man.
I'll be back. Who says that anymore?
Also, he never left, technically, because he's asking how to make music notes here, too. He's like, wait, Cuttlefish? Are you still here? I thought you left. It was like, whatever key it on your phone. I don't know what phone to use.
He uses a flip phone.
That's the problem.
Use the BlackBerry.
I'm surprised he's able to make a music note on a thing like that. It's kind of hard to do anything that's not letters or numbers on those keypads. But yeah, this one we get more of like background with how Pearl Marina started up their band. In fact, we actually have one of the songs here, one of the demos. And it's specifically the song we hear all the time in Splatoon 2. It's like this was the game's national anthem, Ebb and Flow. I think it's like one of like 6 renditions of the song in the game. Good rendition though.
Because, you know, they like it so much. They're just like, here, please like our work. Please.
Watch Cuttlefish come in there and try to play it and accidentally delete the file. Knowing him.
He would find a way to delete it on a server at that point.
It's a good song.
Yeah. Especially when you just hear only Marina in it. Just hearing like one specific singer's rendition is always cool.
How do I make question marks?
Okay, now we know we have a problem on our hands. You didn't even say that was a good song. You just asked what the heck is a question mark. Like, oh, okay, just ignore him. Ignore him. Good song. Ignore him.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Oh, sorry, he fell asleep on the flip phone again. This happens like once every couple minutes.
I'm glad they're just ignoring his mistakes, though.
Yeah, you kind of have to after a while. It's like, all right, this guy's just having like a mental breakdown in the middle of our conversation. Just skip the blue lines and just continue reading ours.
Like, you know, we can definitely tell he's one of the older gentlemen and just don't know how to do anything. Oh, we're not doing F line no more? We're saying F this? Going on a different line?
Well, yeah, we're still on the same line. It's just, you know, FO8. We got a junction between F and C, though we technically weren't on F line. We were also on C line. So FC, I guess. So this one's an interesting mission. Do you want Rapid Blaster normal, or do you want the one with the long range? It's essentially the same mission, except it's way easier when you have the better ranged Rapid Blaster. Because then you can actually skip jumping around certain sections. Go straight for grapple links. We're going with recommended, so we're actually doing hard mode, technically.
Because they just want us to suffer.
I mean, it definitely feels like suffering when you drop all the way down to the bottom. Because, man, this is a long climb back up. There's no real fear in dying at the very least. Just as long as you stay towards the center area and don't deviate too much to the sides. Because there is a bottomless pit here. It's just, I don't think I've ever seen anyone fall into the pit playing this game before. It's very, very easy to avoid.
That would be me. That's why I don't play this game.
I intentionally go for the pit. Like, no one goes for it. I gotta prove them wrong.
I actually wouldn't. I just fall in it somehow.
Amber be like, I gotta be the contrarian.
I gotta be the 1%.
Always. Always. Yeah, see, might as well.
Might as well die.
Guess I'll die now.
Guess I'll die.
You know, I will just reference the Van Halen song or just a meme. You know, memes are funnier. Meme.
I mean, if you had a choice between Van Halen or memes.
Why not both?
I mean, isn't there a Van Halen meme? So technically you're right on that. Also, technically one has a funky beat to it, and the other one's just a JPEG. Or a video. Or an audio file. It could be anything. Not Rainmaker, though. Our second and last Rainmaker mission in Octo expansion. I've been a hot minute, because we did one of these very early on, then the other one's like halfway across the deep sea metro.
Uh-oh. We gotta get the Rainmaker over there.
So this one really does not matter the weapon you choose, kind of like the last Rainmaker mission we've done many, many videos ago. It's just, it's more or less for when you don't have the Rainmaker, the weapon choice does help a bit. So I'm going to take advantage of like the 10 seconds I used this gun, and now we're never using it for the rest of this.
I guess this does help if you've played Rainmaker before and you know what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Because if you've never played the mode before and this is your first experience with the Rainmaker, it can be kind of a learning curve. Just because Rainmaker controls very differently from other weapons. And the whole idea where you can't even use your bombs and you don't have a special anymore, that also takes some time to get used to. So there's a lot of quirks of it. It really helps to just kind of play something like this single player wise.
At least they put in these levels like, hey, here's how you play this mode.
Yeah. I wish they did this with the other two rank modes, though, because they only did this for Rainmaker and Tower Control in this DLC. There's no Splat Zones or Clam Blitz variant. I guess the latter is probably a blessing in disguise.
We need a clam tutorial, please.
Step 1. Wait, why are we playing a different game mode?
Like, who likes Clam Blitz?
Some people actually do, believe it or not.
Like, low-key, it is a very fun ranked mode when you have people actually in comms playing it and actually coordinating as a team. Playing it with randoms in a solo queue is just a nightmare because you don't know what people are doing half the time, and it's hard to actually tell people to go specific directions when needed, so it's just, it's hard. That's why it's seen as the least favorite of the 4 ranked game modes, which is ironic since that was the game mode that was added for Splatoon 2 and everyone was really hyped. to see a new ranked mode, and then yeah, that was a 180 after it came out.
And then you're just like, I take that back. I take that back quite a bit. Cubular station.
Yeah, so remember how I said before we had one of the worst levels in F-Line, but we might see a better one soon enough? Well, here it is. This is probably my favorite level in the F-Line. It's the most unique level, I feel. Just because you can kind of already see it already going in. That's the level. That cube. That's it. But we don't just play it just jumping around or just going in a straight path or anything like that. It's a maze. Not just any maze. A maze that flips.
Oh, cool.
This is one giant puzzle, essentially. I like me a good puzzle. But watch me not do half of the things the puzzle requires you to do and try to get almost every single one of these points with one orientation.
Gosh, I hated this mission, though. It's just so disorienting, though.
It can be.
Maybe just because I get so confused on what I did. You know, it just...
Well, you still give me checkpoints.
Yeah, every single time you get one of these points, it does make a checkpoint at least, but there is only one checkpoint in the level technically, and it's where you first walked into the cube. So you don't have other areas you spawn into with a checkpoint. But that's not really that big of a deal, because it's such a condensed level.
I can see why they didn't bring this back for 3. Like this, anyways.
In terms of cube, yeah, because we had like collectible points like this in Splatoon 3, but not a big puzzle level in this fashion. To be fair, that game did things different.
It's not like this is a bad level. I'm not saying it's a bad level. It's actually kind of an interesting idea. It's just...
I'm not saying it's a bad level, but it's a bad level.
I just didn't care for it too much because it's just... I don't know. I get disoriented really easily. Like, the one thing I didn't really care about in Breath of the Wild was actually the beasts themselves, because you had to constantly move the thing over and over again. And this is just like that, but in Splatoon.
Yeah, although to be fair, the beast's biggest problem when you did something like that is more or less just how it worked. Compared to this being the centralized hub point you shoot, it does feel a little more controllable in some way, just because the whole thing has to flip around before you do anything else. But you can kind of plan around that accordingly. Sometimes when you did that by pausing with the map screen Breath of the Wild, it just kind of felt a little janky. Like sometimes the beast would just move in one way and sometimes it won't. Set it. It's just something about like the momentum sometimes of the puzzles can get a little weird just because of objects in it, like the blocks, for example. And that's how you're able to cheese certain things and some of the divine beasts too. It's just by moving around the beast in specific ways. I think just the pausing element of that made it weird.
Now that you said that, Matthew, they're gonna put it back in.
I bet you they'll put it back in. Yeah.
Now that you said it.
Now that I said it. I mean, I really do think like the weakest thing about Breath of the Wild was the dungeons. I think that honestly was the weakest part about the game.
Yeah, more or less because sometimes the shrines felt a little more developed at times, but they were still like major dungeons, so there was a lot more to do and they did take longer. So they're still fun, but when you compare it to a traditional Zelda dungeon, they do kind of fall behind a bit.
Yeah.
Not to say that, you know, I didn't enjoy the dungeons, I just thought they were weaker than the other Zelda games. Like, I just recently went through Skyward Sword not too long ago, and I absolutely loved the dungeons in that game. I think they were like one of the best dungeon designs in the series. For the longest time, I was like, holy crap, these dungeons are freaking great. Why couldn't we have this in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, which is so funny to say, because Skyward Sword kept on changing a lot of things in development, so a lot of stuff was cut due to that. And I think even the dungeons in some way suffered with that.
Like, I still think about the fourth dungeon, the water dungeon, the Sistine, you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, like the Ancient Cistern dungeon.
The Ancient Cistern, yeah, that one was my favorite one. I love that dungeon, and I don't say that about a water dungeon in Zelda games. I always absolutely despised water dungeons, but that one was like, holy crap, it's actually a good water dungeon.
Yeah, and also has a fan favorite boss fight too. You know what's not good? Boss fight. Boss fight, for lack of better terms, Sucks balls. The baller balls, to be specific. Why did it have to be the baller?
Because I wanted to get the ball rolling on this boss fight.
Unfortunately, I picked the wrong one. This guy, oh man. This is a fun boss to fight in the main campaign when you can use proper weapons. Throw out a baller, that one little flick of this guy's roller can send you right into the pit. Yeah, you can imagine why this one's probably my least favorite of the boss rematches. It's so easy to get blindsided and knocked into the pits by just sheer accident.
Oh yeah, I can see why.
And they do put up fences here so that you can be blocked, so you don't fall in the pit immediately. But they're too small. Like, why are they just like 2 width height, or like 2 width length fences? Like, why? It should have been at least 3, maybe 4. Yeah, the problem in this fight is like health is never a problem because you are invincible with the baller. But when you get knocked into a pit with one good fling, it might as well be like a one-hit KO, so your health is just meaningless at that point. It could be a punishing fight if you're not good with the baller. That's the problem. This is the fight that really teaches you the limitations of baller. I will say, though, this is probably not the best showing of how this boss fight should actually play out in this DLC, because I'm a very reckless player. If you ever see me play Splatoon, you know this. I'm that guy who always rushes in the front lines with a lot of the different killer-styled weapons and specials. So give me a special like the baller in this fight. We gotta play more defensive than offensive. Then yeah, this boss fight really shows just how I'm not very much of a defensive player in Splatoon. Also, I will say low-key though about this special, it's a cool idea, but man, it did kind of fall flat. It's kind of one of the weakest specials in Splatoon 2, unfortunately. Why we don't really see it returned in Splatoon 3. It has a lot of faults. You technically pop the baller by just shooting it. So it didn't provide that much defense for a player.
I guess you could say that it really dropped the ball.
Like that?
Yeah.
So you got him killed by saying that.
Bike incoming. It doesn't even look like a bike. It looks like one of those motorized scooters that you ride around in at Walmart.
It really is. Fortunately, the first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is all Blart and Mall Cops. I'm just picturing Octo Mall Cop now, and that's definitely a horrifying image.
Octo Mall Cop.
Okay, somebody's gonna go draw that now.
Marley. Another big draw.
I feel like it'd be faster at this point to get out of the ball and just get a splatter shot or something. Just shoot him. Thing also takes forever to do damage too, because you gotta pop it right next to the guy to do the most amount of damage. But also sometimes by doing that, you'll get knocked out of the way with his flings. So you do less damage. It just takes a while.
Then he jumps out of the way and you're like, oh, I just wasted an explosion.
Sir, please sit still with your unicycle, please.
And of course it takes like two explosions to kill the tentacle.
Yep. It has more health than just one explosion. Because I believe one explosion is 100 points. It's enough to instantly KO an Inkling or an Octling multiplayer. But that's like if you're right up against the person.
Oh man, he's bringing out the band roller now.
The band hammer's is out and means business.
Well, it's not a hammer, but
Band flinger. The band flings a.
I mean, he's treating this thing like a flings at times, because I swear his vertical flings are way more stronger and horizontal. You can tell I'm bad at the fight and getting really jumbled when I'm making bad grammar like that.
dude, I can see why you don't like this boss. For sure.
It's just one wrong tap and you're just dead. That's what I don't like. It's too punishing, I think, with the baller, and it just takes forever. It's a cool idea on paper, and then when you get to the execution, it falls like me.
Then that happens. You get pocketed like a billiards ball.
Yep. Come on, we're not in that one of the 8-ball missions. I'm not an 8-ball.
Oh my gosh! He had enough of you.
Come on, flings it. Yeah, never mind.
This is mainly like one of the key levels I talked about in the very beginning of the series where you get to see failure. Like, yeah, that's kind of like this boss with everything in a nutshell. Again, it's just very... one mistake and you're done fight, and it's very easy to make a mistake. Sometimes you can save it if you're knocked away while having some height in the ball, because it just reduces the distance, but can't count on it. You just pretty much have to play it more defensively than offensively in this fight. That's a problem with my playstyle, as we can see. I'm never the backline weapon in these games. I'm never the defense player. I'm offense. I gotta be right in your grill.
That's why we can't win Turf Wars without you, Lester.
It's because I killed the enemy team.
Yeah, you're the only one brave enough to go in right in their face.
I mean, to be fair, I do bring the big guns to their faces half the time, like 52 gals.
Dude, just stop.
Let me explode.
Like, sir, I don't know what's so wrong about me exploding my ball in front of your face, getting all my juices on you. Okay, now I understand why the restraining order has been filed. Now saying it out loud, I will sign it for you.
Hold up. Let him cook.
Note to self. Next time, bring a gun.
I'm glad they did not bring that back for 3 now.
Yeah, there was never any kind of a level like that in 3 where you fight a boss with some very unconventional weapon type. I mean, maybe in DLC, because we never seen that with Splatoon 2 until this.
Maybe.
Fear what special they would pick, though, for that. A lot of specials that could be problematic for a boss fight just because of time's sake and or you're a giant target. If they make you fight a boss with just triple ink strikes, I don't think I'm ever playing that boss fight. That would be a nightmare. That thing alone is already hard enough to actually aim correctly. And you're a sitting duck when you use it.
Outrageous station. Truly, truly, truly outrageous.
Not as outrageous as that last boss, am I right? I actually am right. That boss still sucks. The Sea Cucumber actually gave him some tips about the different weapons for once. How different. We're not going to use any of them because we're coming in with the bucket. Thank you.
What's with this music?
Yeah, of all the level themes, this one is one of the more ominous ones. Like, there's a boss fight incoming, but it's just your standard platforming level. So they picked one of the more ominous themes for a simple task.
What, like watch out for that common enemy or something?
Like if you're trying to fold your laundry and then you hear, like, the boss music play from, like, a Zelda game or something.
You're going upstairs to wash the dishes, and then Doom Eternal's Doom 2016's Rip and Tear starts playing.
Yeah. Oh man, where's the BFG?
Then you wouldn't have to worry about the dishes. You could just, I don't know.
You can just blow it up at that point. Just blow up the dishwasher.
Yeah. You might have to buy some new dishes afterwards, but hey, you wouldn't have to wash them.
Speaking of which, I just finished Doom Eternal not too long ago. I actually really thought the game was really good. My only problem with it was they just added a lot of mechanics to it. Of just like I try to remember everything that's going on, especially with certain demons and everything.
Yeah, that's fair. It could be a little overwhelming.
Like there's a lot of like gimmick demons, if you know what I mean, which isn't a bad thing.
That's on my to-play list for that reason, because that first level fun. That's pretty much all I played, but that first level fun.
I mean, it's a fun game. It's just, like I said, my only problem with it is it has a lot of gimmick demons. Which, you know, when you're adding more stuff to enemy variety list, you're gonna run into that problem, I feel like. Especially when you add more, like...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of games do that. I mean, just playing through Sonic Frontiers recently when it came out, I had the same issue, because half of the robots are literally just the same thing with new coat of paint, but they have, like, different attack pattern that makes them way harder to kill, because half the attacks are just shields. Like that, yeah, like, enemies at times, they just do, like, something different. It's more of, like, a padding thing. It's like a color swap with, like, an extra gimmick thrown on top of it. That way it actually feels like a different enemy.
Like, Doom Eternal's got a lot of enemies that require specific weapon attachments and skills from said weapon attachments in order to destroy them. And I'm just like, oh gosh. You know, it's like you're constantly switching guns and everything. Which, you know, you're gonna do normally when you play the game anyways.
PC Master Race Advantage, baby! Just hit the number keys.
Yeah. But, you know, it's just like, holy crap. Just like, alright, it's like you kind of interrupts the flow of everything, if you know what I mean.
And it won't stop me from chainsawing everything I see.